Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of the Who's Your Dandy Show. Staying true to my weirdness pledge, I had a 2-hour conversation with the incomparable Robert Wiseman. Now, Robert's the co-producer of the Dealer Playbook. He works with Flex Dealer, and he consults with sales professionals all over the country about personal branding and other things. Robert owned his first business at age 18, and he's bought and sold businesses ever since, eventually landing him in the car business about 5.5 years ago. His innovative video strategies has made him the enemy of his competition and kind of a search engine superstar. Several of his walk-around videos have over 100,000 views, and these are videos that were done back in 2012. They're still on the front page of Google. And the Dealer Playbook, the podcast, has over 50,000 monthly listeners in over 55 countries. Like I said, Robert and I talked for quite a while, so we're going to squeeze 2 hours worth of conversation into about 25 minutes of highlights. So sit back and enjoy. And if you want to see the full-length version, go to autotainmentnetwork.com here in a day or two, and we'll have it downloaded. But sit back and you'll see some of the highlights and see just how weird Robert Wiseman is. One of the things that I remember when I first saw you, and you were actually presenting, or at least you were being used as an example by the presenter.
It's being used.
And you put, or they typed in the Google search, I think it was whatever town you were from.
Honda, no, it wasn't a town. It's Honda. Now that one.
Honda Accord, Maryland.
Yeah, it was 2013. It was the year. It was, so 2013. It was 2013 Honda Accord or the Honda Civic MD, Maryland or Maryland. I was the first organic on both of them. Both of those videos are close to 100,000 views.
Here's the best part is he wasn't at a Honda store. Right.
It worked. And that's the thing, is because even still today, at that time, like the only reason that, and I say this a million times, the only reason anything that I did went over and worked, especially when it came to video then, is because I was just, I'm not saying like I'm a genius and innovator, but I was an early adopter in this business to that. Right. And that's why that stuff would work, because there wasn't other people to compare it to. Right. So still today, these salespeople out in these markets, they do video, produce it, make it, what you're saying it's going to be, what you title it as and what it's going to be, and do things like that. You will rank, because the other person and the other dealer, chances are they're not doing it. Right. And it's a way for you to stick out in the market and take advantage of what people don't want to do. Like, nobody's comfortable on camera. Like, nobody's pumped up and be like, yeah, video, let's do one. Right. Nobody's excited about that. But it's just the fundamentals of, we know it's like, to be successful, you just got to do what the other guy is not, right?
Right. In every facet. And you stepped out there and did something that really no one was doing at that time. And really, you look today, it's not really that much better. I'm shocked that we're 2 years, almost 3 years downwind, and that my pages aren't flooded with this, because it works and it's a way to brand yourself. Whenever you're doing these videos, I want to skip to something else real quick. I want to talk about the content of these videos, not necessarily the quality. We'll get to that. But so when you first started, what was the concept behind your videos? What were you putting together? I know we see these. There were walk-arounds, and was it different models, individual cars?
Baloney. This is what I go back to being an early adopter. Like, you want to learn everything not to do, go look at my early YouTube channels. But again, I went 150 plus days of publishing a video on YouTube every day.
Okay. So you put
that
volume of content out there.
Yes. And that today, it's not that, like, that's the exact opposite of what your strategy should be today. It should be quality, not quantity. No, here's the thing. So when it comes to video, like the majority of everybody and what they talk about and talking about using video is they're using it as the communication tool, another form of communication. Like Elise, our friend Elise does, and things like that.
Which is effective.
Well, my friend.
It's effective. Yeah, it's good communication.
Which is totally effective. I would never tell anybody not to do that.
Right.
But the crazy part is that's the least valuable part of video when it comes down to it. Like, that's not even tapping into the full, potential of video. So the
You're
full
talking about
potential
search,
of video,
though. You're talking about search.
it comes from YouTube.
Search. Okay.
Yes, it comes from YouTube.
So they want to do video, and they want to start this brand and get noticed. And what you're talking about is search. Videos you can do to be available to them and to start pushing your brand out there.
Is YouTube, which all ties back to using YouTube, right?
Okay. All right.
And YouTube is, I'm not going to go on all the stupid stuff everybody knows, it's owned by Google. It's a huge search engine, blase. Right. We all know that Google will rank a video faster than anything else if it's right. So what you want to do is, and again, using like the walk around. Here's the 2016, first off, don't say walk around in your, I never knew what a walk around was until I got into the car business.
Yeah, that's dealer talk.
Lose the jargon. Think like a customer. Our mutual friend, who we've had some great times with, Mark Tewart.
Yeah, TLC.
One of his greatest things. Yep, TLC. Think like a customer.
Yeah.
And that's one of the something so simple and obvious is one of the most powerful things out there.
Right. Is
think like a customer. Think like you are a customer.
Right.
We first off, we have such a tendency, not a tendency, we do. We separate things in automotive, like there's marketing, but automotive marketing.
Right.
It's all one. Marketing is marketing. People are people. There's no difference. Listen, the people that buy cars, they buy everything else way more than they buy cars.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So stop thinking like it's different.
Yeah.
No, you appeal to the same people. You don't use words like that. Walk around and not using your name in the description, because no one's searching your name.
Right.
Right. It's a fact.
Right.
But the again, back to like doing the 2016 make and model review and walk around. Like, that's good. That's better than doing nothing. But that's work that you're doing that's not going to last you forever. Now, what I'm about is doing that video that it's what we call evergreen, where you do it one time and it's going to keep paying you back forever. Meaning things that your target client, your target marketplace, your target audience is searching on a regular basis.
Right.
So if they're searching things like, what's the warranty on a BMW? All right. Now, if you go in and you're local, okay, so if this person is in your marketplace searching this, you're geographically near them. You geotag your video the right way, which is just a feature in YouTube.
Right.
And, they don't have to go in and type your city and state for that to come up, right?
Sure.
Like Google's goal, and Google is, and their goal is to be the best search engine in the world, right?
Sure.
Well, to be the best search engine in the world, they need to return the best search results for that individual search I guess you want to call them.
Sure.
They do that by putting the best content in front of them, right?
Right.
So all you need to do is you go in there and just answer the questions, essentially, that are more like evergreen's kind of like a jargon term, I guess you want to say, but something that people are always going to ask.
It's timeless.
Yes, something that's timeless. Something that's like if I was selling cars right now, I'd be doing things about like the experience, like what happens in this office back here, what do I do if I totaled my car?
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
how do I adjust, like maintenance and things like that? That's a no-brainer. That stuff doesn't change a lot for a lot of vehicles, things like that. And people searching like gas mileage, like that's something everybody misses. And people say, what's the gas mileage on a Toyota Prius? If somebody's asking you it in person, listen, again, I've been there on the front line. What we do, the one thing we do as salespeople in the automotive industry is answer questions.
Sure.
All day, every day, whether it be via text, via phone call, via email, via face-to-face in the showroom. We're answering questions all day long. If they're asking you it via any of those vehicles that I just told, those channels I just told you about,
they're searching
you better believe they're searching it.
Okay.
Then also go back to your service drive. Hang out there. You should be hanging out there anyway, because I would always hang out back there. But talk to those guys, shadow them, and hear the questions they're being asked.
Okay.
Their phones are ringing all day long. They're not people scheduling appointments. People have questions about this and that. Warranty. What's the warranty on this? What's this? What do I do if this happens? What do I do if that happens? Like that stuff, if they're calling in today, 9 times out of 10, maybe not that individual is searching, but somebody is searching.
So step one for the salesperson is to get out a notepad, write it down, and start coming up with content subjects and get together 3 or 4 of them to begin with. I mean, I'm really talking about first thing.
They ask, you answer.
Right.
That's the strategy.
Right. But I'm saying the salesperson that's listening right now, they're saying, okay, I want to get into this. And I've just been doing these walk-arounds and all this, but now I need to get into the real brass tacks of what people are asking. You talked about BMW warranty. So it's 3 things you need to know about a BMW warranty.
Yes.
And then
you
have a video. Okay.
Yes. The content should always be like, I like to stick to the one problem, one solution.
Okay.
Thing, like don't go into something generic like the 2016 Chevy Silverado.
Right. You're going to get buried.
Like if you're going to do it on a new make and model, it's 3 reasons why you should buy the 2016, or the best 3 new features on the 2016 Chevy Silverado. If you want to do make and model type things, the 5 reasons why you should buy Chevy over Ford. All right, so I'm going to go into this is the biggest tip. And this comes from why I did video and everything. And this is for that person listening in, is that look at what everybody else is doing and just do what they're not, or do something different. And nobody was doing that.
Right.
And this is before that. So I started using that in the worst way possible.
Right.
And I go back and I look at all my videos, and and I laugh and I'm like, oh my God, they're the worst. Wow, this is so bad. What am I going to do with this? But then I heard a comment from Seth Godin, who's one of my favorite, professional marketers and entrepreneurs out there. And he made a comment that said, if you don't look back at your first version of something or your first go at it, and you're not completely humiliated, you waited too long to do it.
Wow.
Right? Because you wanted to perfect it. You wanted to do this and that. Your first version of something should be humiliating.
Right.
When you look back after you've become seasoned, right?
Absolutely.
Become a seasoned vet. And that's what I looked at. I was like, nobody else is doing this, and I'm going to do it. Right. Everything that I did when it comes to that, like video and YouTube and that day, except I was able to, I learned from someone to show me how to get these videos on YouTube in front of people.
Right.
It became very, very, very effective. It's like, all right, so now I know I just need to put every video I put out, it'll rank. If I do it right, I put it in for the keywords that I think that people would be searching, things that people would be looking for.
Right.
And if I'm up in there, if I'm there in Google, the top thing, they click me, boom, maybe they'll click on the link. I had no good, strong call to actions. I had poor quality video, but at the time was probably subpar. And these videos still rank. Dude, I still get leads today from that stuff.
Let's talk about personal websites just for a second. Having their own personal website. And those of you that are listening, there are some dealerships that, don't want their people to do it. We don't want anybody to get in trouble. So if you have a policy there where you can't do that, that's fine. But I'm in a dealership that is, I'm a salesperson with some open-minded people here. I want to create my own website and brand myself inside my dealership. Give me some do's and don'ts on doing a personal website, me as a car salesperson.
Okay, very good. Thank you. This is a great question. First off, don't try to DIY it unless you've done this professionally before. Unless you've sold your services to a business that does this, don't try to be Superman. Stay away from hiring friends. There's such a difference between web design and then online marketing. And that's where I think people get, especially in this business. God forbid you're in a dealership and you let somebody know you know something about how to hook up a computer. Tomorrow you're the internet manager. So the first is, don't try to do it alone.
Hire a professional.
Hire a professional, because and next is, don't think you need the inventory feed or you need inventory, because your website is never, same with a dealership. A website today, until I can add to cart a car, and that's going to be the regular, thing that the user is accustomed to. You don't try to sell cars. You don't need inventory on there. You are not selling cars with this website. You are selling you.
Why do I want
you?
What's that website supposed to do for me as a car salesman?
It's selling you. It's building your credibility in the marketplace. First off, here's a simple thing. And everybody looks at it as an inbound lead thing. Well, listen, that's one way that it can benefit you. But another way is something as simple as this. Hey, Mr. Benitez, listen, I really hope this is the customer leaving that hasn't inked up. It happens to the best closers in the world. You can't sell everybody on the first take, right? So, hey, listen, Mr. Benitez, I really, really hope, I would love the opportunity to earn your business. Listen, when you get home or on your time, whenever, please check out robertwiseman.com. That way you can learn even more about me, the services I provide, and also what other people in your community have to say about their experiences with me.
Okay.
Well, first off, nobody else is telling them that.
Right.
So instantly I'm different.
Okay.
Right? Next is the fact that you have to take a website and make it more than an online business card and brochure, right? Because that's the majority of what people's websites are. And that's just like, they feel like they're checking something. I got a brand. I have a website. No, you have an online business card or brochure. It needs to become a resource for your target client, your ideal client. The way you do that is by consistent updates of content that is useful. Nobody wants to hear about your sale. No one wants to hear about the new promos that are coming out. Nobody wants to hear about you, because the bottom line is this, and sometimes this is hard to stomach, but nobody gives a crap about you. Nobody gives a crap about your product. They only give a crap about themselves. So either embrace that or stop. So you have to give value. It's the same way with the video strategy, as you do that on your website with embedding those videos through a blog. You need to create content that if people are searching it, that Google's going to rank you. Because to get ranked by Google, you don't have to have the most views, the most subscribers, the most likes from YouTube or from your blog, whatever. Is you just have to provide the best quality answer to that question. Because think about Google. When we go to Google, what do? We ask it questions, right? 90% of all transactions, including relationships, start there.
So go ahead.
You have to answer the questions. Then you need to, first off, mobile responsive. Everything, just think mobile. Forget what it looks like on desktop. All mobile. It needs to be fluent across all screens. Next is it needs to not be about you. It needs to be about the customer. Everybody thinks the about page should be about them. No, the about page is about the end user, right? It's about what your website is about and why it benefits them.
I think really, not to interrupt you, but what you're saying is about what you said that I like the best is credibility. Is that when people see, and like Mike Davenport, he's a rock star. And when people see that they have a website, it just says, I'm invested in what I'm doing. I take pride in it.
I'm not going to be gone tomorrow.
And don't just believe me. Here are people, here are reviews, here's what people are saying about me. Here is some good information about how to change your oil or things to not do when you go on vacation.
Shows your commitment that you're not fly by night.
Right. And that is the
you're
best
different
thing
from
me.
Everybody else.
Right.
The name of the game is to be different.
Right.
That's the way to do it. Another thing is check this out. So another client that I work with, that a salesperson that we've helped him out a lot with his website, his web strategy, and he's invested a lot of money and he does a great job of continuously creating content. Called me up the other day, all pumped up. Other day, I mean, this is a month or so back, to be honest. And he's all pumped up and he's telling me about, man, sorry, I haven't been able to keep up with my blog, because those guys, like, I ride them about, like, you have to continuously create content. If you have it in you, unless you're going to pay me and our team to do this, you're going to have to do it. Here's the playbook on how to do it. He's like, I'm sorry, I've been a little behind on my blog. I've been so damn busy, selling cars. I'm like, oh, awesome, man. So the website's working for you, right? He said, Robert, I'll be straight up with you. I don't think I've generated one lead from my website. I'm like, what? Why are you calling me all fired up? He said, no, I've consistently produced content for it. And what I do is I distribute those links to that content to my current prospects and people I'm working with.
Right.
And I said, wow.
Yeah.
Like, everybody looks at it as an inbound opportunity, but you can still use it in an outbound opportunity where, like, think of it's a whole, it broadened my thoughts to a whole other horizon of, all right, well, frequently asked questions, things like that, things that I deal with internet leads. Boom, I'm going to do it one time, blog it, then send the link to everybody that's on, that's asking those same questions or facing that same barrier or questioning me the same way or wondering who I am, what I do. And then he's using that. He's sending it, putting people to, sending people towards it, leveraging it in that aspect. Like, I always looked at it as the inbound opportunity, right? That's what everybody wants. They want leads. Right. People think that they can just put up a website and boom, website.
Right.
You as a dealer, like, that your website doesn't sell cars.
Sure.
A website is a website is a website. I don't care what provider you have. I don't care if Zuckerberg himself, or I don't know of any, like, famous web designers, but, like, whoever designed it, it's not about that. It's about how you leverage it, what you do with it from there. And, like, he was leveraging it to a way that it was, built. And I think about that and it's like, wow, it's an instant way to be different, and it's an instant way for people to remember you. And it's an instant thing that's like, all right, he's giving me value.
Right.
And the way we think is, you give me something, I'm going to be more inclined to give you something back.
That's really the crux of content. You're giving people things, you're giving them information, you're becoming an authority. And so when they decide to buy, then they want to return to that place.
Yes. And the best part is, though, Danny, which people don't think about, especially when it comes to content and answering these questions, you do it one time, you put it online, it's there forever. It becomes this is what Michael Cirilla's dad, Joe Giuseppe, always says. It's the website is the salesperson that never sleeps. And that's what it becomes, because it's working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because people are online searching, doing this. So it becomes your team. That's like same with video. The more of these content, every piece of content you publish becomes an asset. if it's the right piece of content that's going to work for you like a bat out of hell. Right. You know what I mean? While you're sleeping, while you're selling other people, while you're, out and about, whatever. It's working for you. And that's where, a lot of people don't get. A lot of people are like, yeah, I'm not a writer, this and that. I'm like, listen, everybody is more of a writer than me.
Right.
And I write and I publish constantly.
Right. It's the spinning plates. You get the plate spinning, and really you just have to keep it going, and you continue to let this content build on each other. So you have this evergreen content, you continue to add, and as you add, it's not just what you're adding. These ones that you did, 3 months, 5 months ago, a year ago, they're continuing to generate, and it really just has a snowball effect.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
And it's there. Yes. And it's there. It's like, okay, so everybody judges like analytics and stuff like that. Like, dude, I don't do analytics.
Yeah. Me neither.
Like, because either way, the response you get back from analytics will never be good. And I'll tell you why. If your analytics are poor, meaning the traffic, the response to what you're doing is poor, is bad, it's going to adjust the way that you perform and the way you execute. If it's great, it's going to adjust the way you perform and the way you execute, right?
Right.
So you stay away from that. You produce it for when that person needs it, it's there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
the right person finds it because it's free. It's not costing you anything to do it unless you're paying somebody to do it.
Okay, so here we go. Let's put this into terms. So what you're saying is spend the time that you were going to spend pilfering through all the analytics, creating more content, and forget about the analytics. So I'm going to go spend 30 minutes or an hour going through all these analytics. Instead, I need to go get my video camera and go out and provide some content for my customer base and for potential customers.
It doesn't even have to be video, just any channel. Blogs, and that's the thing.
Speaking of others, go ahead.
Here's the biggest mistake. This is not the biggest. Every mistake I say is always the biggest. But here's another big mistake: is being primarily channel focused. Like you don't need to be on, like, everybody's like, be everywhere, do all this, do that. No, you don't. You need to be on the channels that your target audience, your ideal target client is on. Everybody thinks of a brand like, I have a brand because I created a cool name. Now I bought a domain. I put up a website. I've got cool cards. I'm doing all the cool thing. That's a brand. Listen, that's just the identity, the identity tools and vehicles, and then the channels that you use for branding.
Right.
The true anatomy of a brand goes way deeper and beyond all that.
Right.
And that's the thing, is you don't have to be on every channel.
Right.
It's you can't be everywhere. Like, that's the problem, is we try to spread ourselves too thin.
Right.
You need to understand the channels that your target market, your ideal client is on. And that's what branding is built off of. It's not that if you don't have a website, you don't have a brand. If you don't have a website, you don't have a quality brand, and you're not leveraging it the right way. Because here's the thing. Every single one of you out there selling cars, desking deals, working for vendors, whomever's listening to this, a mom, a dad. As you can see, I'm a dad. There's
perfect.
My son trying to peek in. That you all have a brand.
Right.
Because your brand is the perception that others have about you before ever even having an experience with you. So we all have a brand. But if you want to have a brand that's a quality brand, that's an authority brand that people look to, that becomes a resource, you got to have a website. If you're the dealer, provide them with these websites, these channels, because this is how it goes both ways. If I'm talking to a salesperson, I'm going to be like, dude, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission.
Sure.
Do it and get shut down, right? If you're the dealer, put it out there and give it to them, because you know what? Then freaking own it.
That's right.
It's
and
yours.
Let me hit on that
and
right
your
now.
Facebook pages and everything that these guys are doing, and they're thinking they're building a brand with Facebook. They're not, because they don't own Facebook or the audience they're building. That's Zuckerberg's audience.
Sure.
Not yours.
Sure.
They'll shut you down every day. Any day you could be gone.
Right. Well, and something that I've been toying with is creating a salesperson advertising co-op program to where we will participate. The same way General Motors does it with us with our websites, all OEMs do it.
Yes.
And they say, great, we're going to assist you if you'll just follow some of these guidelines. Now,
if
we
you
all know
put X amount of skin in the game, you're going to put X amount in as
Absolutely.
well. I think that's a brilliant idea. And I think that if you tied in, especially to where you have some kind of, like, let them be them. Oh, but seriously, imagine if you had 10 JPs on the floor.
Absolutely.
Doing that.
Absolutely.
You don't have to your marketing slowly decrease. Your marketing budget will go down in the long run, because people buy from people.
Sure.
They'll buy from JP before they'll buy from Greg Lair, Buick GMC.
Absolutely. And that's what you're saying exactly, that we've had these conversations a lot here, and that's why we're toying with this salesperson co-op program, is because the people that are listening to this show with Robert and I right now, especially if you're a GM or a dealer, we get in such a control state of mind, and we want to limit all these things instead of understanding the exponential power of the internet, and understanding if we can support them in doing this, set up guidelines. One of my favorite quotes, I do quotes from time to time, and sometimes they just come out, but give them riverbanks and then let them frickin' swim.
I am a Steve Jobs Apple fan back when it used to get you shoved in your locker. Not that it's the cool thing it is today. And his best thing is just like, don't look at your competition and see what they're doing and try to do it better.
Right.
Look at what they're doing and do it. How can I do it different?
How can people get a hold of you through Twitter, whatever?
Robert Wiseman, the I before the E, SMAN.com. Please, if I may. And first off, I think what you guys are doing over here, what I said about David earlier, even off the air, I'm going to reiterate, is that he's like a non-Jewish Howard Stern.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. That's good. What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, at Robert Wiseman, Wiesman. Please, if I may, check out thedealerplaybook.com. I'm so glad to see so many other people putting this together. Danny, this was great, dude. I hope that I gave these people listening some kind of value, something like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, oh, definitely.
Wiseman,
Danny, thank you so much,
thank you for taking the time, man. I appreciate you, and let's stay in touch, and I promise I'll try to start answering your calls.
Thanks, Danny.
See you, buddy.
This thing right here is for the IS-20G. And this thing right here is by my man Danny B. What they call you?
Who's your Danny? They say it's me. Been doing cars since '83. I'm busting fools and teaching schools, sharing tools and breaking rules. Who's your Danny? They say it's me. Breaking it down for all to see. Keep it simple, keep it